Volume 4 of the collab just wrapped up. Again, it's powerful, man. We're about building people, building leaders, right? Giving people a different perspective to how to advance the culture. So I appreciate everybody who popped out. Let's just keep being consistent. Let's keep collaborating so that we can enhance the culture of basketball to help these kids get to the next level. Let's get it. This episode of the collab is brought to you by the Bounce Academy, where you come to get better and get more explosive. We feature our guy, Coach Jock, who's our certified performance coach, who's going to help you increase your vertical jump. Coach Jock.
What's good? I'm Coach Jock. So I am head coach of performance here at Kingdom Performance, and I run something called the Bounce Academy. It happens Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. Mondays and Wednesdays, 7 to 8, and Saturdays at 1:30. So if you're ready to get less knee pain, less back pain, more explosiveness, more agile, to be quicker, to be faster, put somebody in the rim, have a better first step, any of those things, if they're interesting to you, right? You need to contact me, contact Kingdom Performance. You can hit me up on Instagram, Jamie Loxley, on Instagram at Jamie Loxley. Kingdom Performance, you can call the number, right? All the information is right there. Let us know.
Much time with the introduction, familiar crowd. Let's get right to it. So collab volume 4 keeps getting better, keeps growing. We keep growing. We keep implementing the things that we talk about, which is very, very important. So us as coaches and in the professional realms, we like to push our athletes to implement what they've learned. And so it's important that we do the same. So when we come together, it's not just about having talks, right? It's about being action-minded, right? And actually utilizing this information to better ourselves and better the community and the culture. So we're gonna keep leveling up. So Eric, take it from here, bro.
All right, well, good. Welcome to Volume 4, gents, and good to kind of follow up on what we talked about last time, right? So if you guys remember last time, we talked about a lot of the business foundation, right? Kind of some of those pain points, leadership, identity. So really just talking about some of that structure of your business, right? To Coach Keith's point, you know, we've been meeting now, this is the 4th time, so now we're talking, we're getting some networking, we're learning, sharing some best practices. So in the spirit of 2026, in the spirit of elevation, right? So now it's time to elevate into a big part of business, which is ownership and accountability, right? And that's holding each other accountable to start now walking the talk, right? So with that being said, and you think about just what's next in the evolution of your business, right? The theme, what we want to talk about now is business versus the culture, right? How is your business impacting the culture, right? So I'm gonna open it up with Keith, but you know, just to kind of elaborate a little bit on, you know, how your business is impacting the culture, and how you have to make sure again that you're not just, you know, a part of the problem, but you're a part of the solution.
Really pride ourselves in preparing athletes for the next level, right? And so in order to do that, you have to give them those building blocks now, right? So creating a system, creating a platform, creating a schedule that mirrors what the next level actually looks like. So we're talking about player development, we're talking about playing games, getting exposure, right? And so in the culture of AAU and what's happening in today's game in the society of basketball, it's very, I'm on this team, I'm on that team. It's inconsistent, it's you're here, you're there, and that's not what it's gonna look like whenever you get to the next phase. Like, you're playing more than you're practicing, right? You're playing more than you're training. You're playing more than you're recovering, right? You're not valuing the work that's going to help you not only get there but stay there and have a sustainable career. And so for us, we are about building a culture that will prepare you directly for the next level, like from the film to the weights to the recovery to the training to the games, and it being managed in a way to where it's not overloading the athlete to where now it's lopsided, right? So that's kind of our perspective on how we advance the culture, because the game is in a really, really bad place, man. Like, you know, kids are at the tournament getting recruited by other coaches throwing them the jerseys, and you know, kids aren't coming to practice, they just playing in games on weekends. Like, that's creating bad habits. Right now the kid don't know who to listen to. Now you wondering why when you're coaching him, he's not looking you in the eye, he has no foundation, he's all over the place because he's never been in structure. He's never been in an environment where it's like, no, you know where you're gonna be every single day, right? You know the people and the coaches and the staff that's gonna be with you, helping you get better. You know the voices, right? You know the chain of command. Now it's here, there, everywhere. And so I think that's doing a disservice to the culture, and people are doing it for selfish reasons. They're doing it just to win games and win tournaments that mean nothing versus doing it for the betterment of the athlete. So
we're not very proactive with our health. We like to wait until the car engine light pops up before we take it in, and we apply that same logic to our body. I'm gonna wait until it's broken, then I'm gonna go in and take care of it, because now it's a big enough problem that it's affecting things in my life. So if someone comes into me, you kind of have to almost be tough. You almost have to be a coach. Like, hey, I need to see you for this period of time, this many times a week, whether it's twice, whether it's once, whether it's every other week, because we need to get you healthy. And then we're in a world where the majority of people that I interact with have basically never been healthy. They've had allergies since they can remember. They haven't been able to sleep since they can remember. They've had food sensitivities since they can remember. They've had headaches since they can remember. You're like, none of that's normal. You shouldn't be living with that, right? Like, that's just not normal. What's normal is being healthy. So we're gonna get you healthy, okay? So we go through the plan, we get them healthy. They're like, wow, I'm balanced. This is amazing. I've leveled up with my quality of life. And then it's okay, but we want to be proactive now. So I need you to get in, whether it doesn't even have to be chiropractic, it doesn't even have to be me, but you need to start building the habits that keep you there, rather than regression, go back in, get back up, regression, go back in. No, let's keep you there. Let me see you once a month. You come and see me, and I go, how you been? Oh, I've been great. Literally nothing. They've just been doing great, staying healthy, and we keep them there. Right? That's how we're impacting the community.
I feel like you're either going to rise or fall to your habits. Right? You're going to rise if they're healthy habits, things that's going to help prolong your life, your mental, right? Or you're going to fall to the bad habits that you create, right? And I think as coaches, you know, sometimes when you meet a kid, you meet him with a bunch of bad habits. And so before you can begin training, you have to retrain. You have to retrain their body, retrain their mind, get them to think different, get them to move different. And then that's going to build up their mental, which then builds up their body. Now they can move and do what they need to do. But I like that point about habits. It's huge.
No, that's good. And that's a good point. So the vast majority of everyone in here is training athletes, right? So train them in some type of sports capacity. So when you start thinking about that, right, it's your product versus your culture, right? To coach's point there, are you teaching shortcuts or standards, right? You guys probably remember me mentioning the topic last time, if you permit it, you promote it, right? It kind of feeds into that same spirit there of, you know, again, hype or habits, right? And what are those habits, right? So are they good habits and good standards, right? So Coach Jock, you know, what are some of the standards that you teach to kind of get people away from shortcuts? Because I know that's a big piece of what you train, because shortcuts can be dangerous, right? So what are some of the standards that you have when you train?
There's a couple of ways that you could approach this. There are mindset standards, and then there are actual like physical standards, like the technicalities about the craft of strength and conditioning itself. So the mindset standards would be, and just would be emulating so much of what I've seen from a lot of high-level guys in general. So I really am serious about kids speaking badly about themselves, right? Like, even maybe joking and passing, you know, you let it slide occasionally, but you got to be careful when kids are like, oh, I'm bad at this, coach, I'm not good at this, I've never been good at this. I always tell them, hey, you know, your subconscious can hear you, and it's listening to you say those things. And so then you start, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You keep saying what you're bad at, so you stay bad at it, right? Whether that's being strong, whether that's, you know, being fast. If you are always expecting to do poorly, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're probably going to do poorly. And then in terms of technicalities, you know, everybody, there's always a baseline level of strength that I'm looking for with any age group. You know, you have to get strong, you have to get relatively flexible, you have to be able to be agile and move your body. So to play a sport for a long period of time, especially in today's age where everybody has a strength and conditioning coach.
I mean, one thing I can't lie to you or lie for you, right? It's just finding out the kid where he at and figure out what is his foundation is like. There are some people foundation is built off rock, and some of them is built off sand. So, and just figure out how can we even maneuver and fix that instead of building on top of it, right? So it's just, and also, just speaking life into them, right? For example, like he said, some of them say, I can't. How can I change that? How can I speak life into you? It's just, just telling them the truth. The best gift I can give myself is the truth. So allow them to understand that and become that.
I mean, I think kind of, what you've talked about, like something especially like working in college, I see is like the people that were really successful and like the ones that go on to be really good pros, especially like they have truth tellers in their life. And I think that's a major problem where a lot of people now, if the head coach, they're not like when the head coach is doing or what they're saying, like they have people to run to hear what they want to hear. And I think the really good ones have truth tellers around them, and they're willing to listen to those truths when they're hard truths. Sometimes they don't like them, and I think that's lacking more and more and more. And then there's more people willing to tell people what they want. Like you said, maybe it's to get something financially out of it. Maybe it's because they want to be on that person's good side for what they may get to at some point. But I think the coaches that I've seen have the longest lasting impact, even most, the ones where the athletes come back like, hey, like, you really changed my life or impacted me. It's like those people are the ones that sometimes that athlete did not like that person at all and did not want to talk to that person for a bit because of the truths they were telling them. But eventually they start to see the reality in those truths and changes their life, versus if you always tell them what they want to hear, like they're just going to be the same person forever, and you're not impacting them. You're just allowing them to be who they are right then.
And it's important too not to coddle these athletes, right? You have to challenge them, right? So I'm gonna definitely bring it over here to our coaches. And Coach Austin, this will be a good one for you when you start thinking about kind of the height versus the habits, right? You're in a unique situation here where you have a very talented son that you're here coaching with other athletes as well, right? So how do you approach, your training style to separate, again, the height versus habits? And I've seen you do it to make sure that, again, no shortcuts are not allowed.
Kind of big off back, like what y'all was saying, just being honest, I feel like, especially in the basketball community right now, a lot of parents are messing up for their kids. They're not being realistic with themselves. And some of that comes back to training too, just speaking from a coaching aspect of right now. A lot of parents, they'll wonder why, for instance, I'm not gonna say names, but on my team that I coach, I got one child that, he's got bad habits, but he averages 20 a game. I'm not sitting him. If it's certain stuff, I am. Then I got somebody else that doesn't work hard on defense, but he can't get a bucket. Who am I gonna play? I'll play the person that's gonna get a bucket, And the parents, they can't separate that, They'll ask questions, why is they not playing this? And then I'll be realistic with them. And I'll tell them what I just spoke on to y'all about. And now I look like the bad guy. But I'm okay with being the bad guy in that certain situation, because it's the only way they're gonna learn. If they don't like it, okay, go find a trainer that's gonna lie to you. You're not gonna get nowhere.
I think it kind of goes back to what we talked about even last week about like explaining the why, right? Like having sit downs, having conversations. I think that's a lost art. Just sitting down and just talking to somebody. Like everything is email, text message, chat, this, whatever. And so sitting down and explaining, hey, this is why I'm holding you to this standard. Because there's a misconception that the better I am, the less I need. The better you are, the more you need, the more infrastructure you need, right? Society's gonna tell you you can get away with murder because you're good, but we know eventually you're gonna reach a certain level and somebody else is gonna be right there with you and they're gonna expose all those bad habits that you've created because you were able to get away with it. So I think people can accept it if it's explained. If it's not, it's gonna stay the same. So if we continue to say, hey, this kid is the tallest one in the gym, and we're going to continue just to ride his coattail for where he is and not hold him accountable, he's going to always be that person, right? But if we really want the best for him, having those uncomfortable conversations and being honest with that individual and his family, I think they'll be able to accept it because it's in the betterment of their future. It's not about right now. We always tell the kids, we're not coaching you to be the best fourth grader. We don't care about what your rank right now. We're trying to get you to where you want to be, which is in the league or in. So we got to start treating you like that. Yeah. And you're going to be on the court with people that are equally as talented as you. So we have to and playing against people that are equally as talented as you. And me, as a player, that was my humbling moment, right? When you're in high school and you're thinking you're all this and you're all that, but then when you get on that college floor and you realize it ain't enough, the reality, that light bulb comes on like, whoa, I need to step it up. I wish my coaches would have held me a little bit more accountable, right? And so I think we got to get back to having those communication on the front end to set the standard, set the expectation for them to follow, thereafter.
Yeah. I feel like all us trainers, especially Alir and Sean, we do a good job of giving the younger kids the same game we give the older kids, So, just like you always state, like the younger kids, they got the keys. Like the younger you are, you're doing this. Now. Yeah, you're steps ahead of these 8th graders, 9th graders that at this age, they're too late. But I feel like we do a good job of giving the younger kids the same game that we, same training that we train with our pro athletes.
And everybody's getting held accountable.
Yes.
So it's not like we're shortchanging anybody. Everybody's getting the same pressure. And so I think when they see that, so when as a coach, the best thing you can do is to get on your best player. Because they're like, whoa, he's holding him to this standard. That means I really got to go crazy. You know what I mean? It just trickles down. Like if you get it, the head of the snake, and everything else will follow. So that's something that we really, do. I think we do a great job of not there's no favoritism. Everybody gets equal opportunity. Everybody gets the same coaching, the same instruction, the same criticism, because we want them to all reach their destiny. Right?
Yeah. And even to say, like, when you brought up my son, I think every trainer here has seen my son cry. Mm-hmm. Everybody. I don't give him no favoritism, none of that. I treat him just like when we walk through those doors. Hey, yeah, you're an athlete. You're not my son. You are, but it's just business.
But I'm gonna say this too, to give you credit. Usually when you either coach and train your son, either you overdo it or you underdo it. Mm-hmm. Like you either go crazy to like prove a point, or you just so passive. Like you do it perfect. Like you're right. You give him just enough, and you give him so you have that good balance, bro. Like I watch that. Yeah, I watch that.
I need to hear that because he's having a difficult time knowing when I'm coach, when I'm dad. And I'm just like, all right, just maybe I don't need to just deal with you. You play basketball, we can train, but on a coaching aspect, I'm ready to just pass them on to some other organization, But I appreciate that. It means a lot.
No, that's the reason why I want you to answer that question, because again, that's part of you displaying kind of what those standards are, right? And just not giving on those standards, right? But it's a good transition point too. We start thinking about, again, the product that you do have, right? And what you're kind of contributing. How does that value, right? You talked about we do, what we do for the advanced athletes, we do for the beginning athletes. How does that value translate to the price that you charge?
So I just treat it like a project, right? Each kid that I train is like a project. And also I'm not training a kid, I'm discipling them. And also each time they come in, they don't have to like me. That's my sister's job and that's my wife's job. Right? You come in, let's work, and let's move on. My job is to take that. There's certain things that the parents don't understand. So let me take that off your shoulder. You just be a parent, let me be a coach. Let me speak life into them based on basketball, right? And the project is not gonna be speeded up. It's gonna be day by day. It's brick by brick. Right? And just also meeting them where they at is the most important thing. Some kids, literally, the foundation is being laid down based on their game. Some kids, they don't even know what kind of soil is in the ground. So we need to check out what kind of soil is in the ground first, right? Same thing we said in the huddle earlier. You know, they need to understand their identity in basketball, their identity as a person. So there's more than just a game. So the reason I literally charge like that is it's bigger than basketball. It's discipleship.
So I'll start with this. Like, first and foremost, you got to put a price on it. If you don't put a price on it, you end up eating the cost, right? The cost is going to get extrapolated from somewhere, right? Either they're paying or you're paying in some shape, form, or fashion. So I believe that if you provide a service, you should get compensated for the service. I don't believe in free work. Like, I believe that it teaches the athletes too that nothing in life is free. Like, things cost, right? Like, if somebody's giving their time, their energy, right, their knowledge, there's a cost that comes with that. There's a cost that's associated with that. So we'll start kind of there with it costs to be a part of this program, like straight up and down. And the other way I look at it is you're paying, a bulk of what you're paying for is the work that was done before you even got here. Traveling, playing Division I basketball, going overseas away from my family, playing pro, right? Traveling the world, training athletes, helping players get to the next level, producing scholarship athletes, producing NBA athletes, there's a cost that comes with that. There's a system that was put in place to prove that this that you're about to go through works. So if somebody comes to you and says, hey, I guarantee that I'm not making any promises, but I'm going to guarantee that you're going to do X, Y, and Z, that you're going to evolve, would you pay for it? Is there value attached to it? Absolutely. And this is the track record to show you. This is not me giving you a magic pill. This is not me wishing and hoping that it all works out. No, this is me setting the standard from past experiences that it's going to happen. So that's a huge part of the price, right? The second part of the price is what you're stepping into, right? You're stepping into professionalism. You're stepping into when you call, I answer. There's value to that. When you text, I respond, right? I don't know how many people have said, I emailed, what place is this again? I emailed about 10 of them and you're the only one that responded. There's a cost that comes with response that you're paying for. There's a cost that comes to, you're gonna be in this training facility that costs $15,000 a month to rent. You know you're gonna be here. There's not gonna be, we over here, you're dry, and oh man, somebody booked the gym that I was in, and it's, we gotta change location. There's a cost to convenience that I know I'm gonna be at the Kingdom Performance Academy off Summit Avenue in Plano every session. A peace of mind, you pay for peace. You pay for peace, right? You're paying for the ease. Coach, you don't have to ask me when I'm available. I send you a link, everything's on there. You know when I'm available, you know when I'm not, you can book, you get automations, everything. You're paying for streamlining. You're paying, so by the time you get to the court, I tell people the basketball is the easy part. The actual work itself, that's the easiest part that I actually, it's all the other stuff that you're paying for, that's nothing. Like, you just coming in here, we're gonna get your work in, we're gonna evaluate. We've been doing that for so long. That's the actual fun part. It's the other stuff that was gruesome. That was the other stuff that was really sacrificial, right? This is fun, right? So I look at it from that kind of holistic perspective, right? And then on top of that, to ensure that the results are there, I'm checking in. I'm going to your games, right? I'm watching your film. I'm breaking it down, right? I'm taking it back in the lab. We're reworking it. It's a constant ecosystem of work that you're getting with this service, right? Like, I tell people, if you don't want me to be a part of your family, don't train with me. Because you're buying a family member. Like, we're partnering together. Like, I let people know, after the first session, I sit both the kids and the parents down. I say, hey, I'm letting you know this is the standard. This is a partnership. If you're locking in, you are now a Kingdom athlete. You are now a Coach Keith athlete. There's a brand. There's an expectation that goes with that. there's a standard that's set with that. So I'm going to be right there ensuring that the product that I'm producing gets to the other side. I'm not going to just leave it up for chance. So I'm following up, watching film, making sure that it's working. And if it's not, we're going to keep cooking. We're going to keep working and we're going to figure it out. But that's what you're getting whenever you lock in.
I mean, I think, especially a lot of these athletes that want to go play in college, part of mine is like, I've been where you want to be. I've lived all those aspects. I know what if it's basketball, I know what the staffs are looking for. I know, as we're talking about these standards, like how you need to act beyond just how you can score the ball, like the things they're looking for. At this point, physical development has never been more important in recruitment at any time, I would argue, because of the transfer portal and people just wanting to recruit 22, 23-year-olds instead of incoming freshmen. So I can help you, put you in a spot to get where you want to get, because I've been there and know the people and what they're looking for. But beyond just the training, like a big part of just like we've been talking about, a big part of our business is like, one of the things you say is like athletes today, leaders for life. Like we want to impact the whole person. Like you're saying, like we're going to be like close with your family. We're going to, like I was at a Den Geyer and there's like 7 or 8 people who train out there, and like, all the families and all the parents and like hanging out with them. And like, it's more than just the hour that you're here at the session. And like you're saying, it's the response. It's the, you're hitting me up about nutrition stuff, and, me and the athlete, you send me your weight, send me your meals and pictures of those each week. It's not just the session. Like when you're paying for a membership, it's not just the hour or 2, 3 hours of training a week. Like it's more than that.
It's not a physical action that I get to help people with, right? Again, I'm an insurance agent. So what I get to do is just help people, families and adults, protect their kids' potential. That's kind of one of our lines there, is protect your child's potential. With our product, we are protecting their future college education, their future scholarships in the event that something does happen. So putting our price that we have on it, kind of adding on to what Keith said about that work that's already happened. These parents are spending thousands and thousands of dollars on training, on travel, on tournaments, everything like that. So what we get to do is protect that, what they've done for their kid already. We get to protect what, that investment that they've already had on their kid. And of course, we want it to feel like a family as well. Again, I don't get to see, those parents every single day, like here. But I still want to have that relationship with them. That's the most important thing, as a businessman. You have to keep relationships. Otherwise, why would they buy your product if you don't get personal with them? So that's the most important thing for sure.
Now let's transition. So we start talking about, again, kind of value to the pricing. Now your business and your process, right? Just your whole process on how you run your business. Is it a hobby, right? Or is it a business, right? Is it something that you're doing kind of on the side, or is it something that you're truly committing to and you're passionate about, right? So Coach Trevor, what you were just kind of talking about, you can hear the passion in what you're doing and why you're doing it, right? Your own personal experience, which you've shared as well, right? Is one of those things. What's fueling, again, that desire to kind of run your business, right? So when you start thinking about that, what is some of the messaging and just some of the things on how you separate that from being kind of a hobby to your business and kind of the processes you take, right?
I'll say I got a funny story, man, and I'm trying to get better with storytelling. And so while I was building the business, right, I was an educator. So I worked at an international high school for 8 years, right? So going into year 8, going into my last year, I get called into the principal's office, like literally called into the principal's office before school even starts, and questioning like, are you really all in the school? Like, you're building Kingdom, you're doing this, you're doing that. I'm like, okay, like this is literally while I'm here. I'm here because of my experience with working with Kingdom and building that. Like that's what got you guys to recruit me to be an educator in this field, in this place. So like, I don't know why that's even up for discussion. Like I understand from the naked eye why you can think that, but I mean, you can check the receipts. Like there's no shortcuts. Everybody's getting everything. They're getting all of me, and yeah, I'll leave it at that. And so the meeting kind of went on, and the last thing I said was, I'm probably the only person that comes here, does this job, which is an educator working with athletes. Right, I was in the performance training field in school, leadership development as well. I do this for 8-9 hours, leave here to go to my own gym to do the same thing for another 3 to 4 hours every day. So this is not a job to me. This is not a hobby for me. This is my purpose. This is my everything. Like, you can't pull anybody else in this office that does this all day and all night, all year. You can't find another person who's a mathematician all day, all night. You can't find another person who's a scientist, a science teacher all day. You can't find anybody in this building. You have somebody right here in front of you that literally does this from sun up to sundown, 7 days a week. But I'm getting questioned, right? So to answer the question, it's not a hobby. It's not a job. It's my purpose. It's why I'm here, right? It's why God gave me the certain gifts. And it's bigger than basketball, because I feel like even if it wasn't in the basketball business, I would be the same person, just in a different field, like wanting to serve people, because we're all in the people business, right? And it's about giving of your experiences, giving of your shortcomings, giving of your successes to help build up these young people that God has called you to serve. So we're all in the same field in a sense. We just wear different t-shirts, doing it. And so I'm all in. Like, there's no other way around it. I can't envision myself doing anything else. I've even tried, because it's hard. Like, it's hard, to Trevor's point, like, it's hard interfacing with people all the time, right? Like, sometimes I tell my wife, like, man, I wish I was behind a computer just typing and not having to interface, because you have to always be on. You can't have a bad day. Right? You can't take what happened at home and take it to the workplace, because you have these young minds expecting that same person and that same spirit that they need on a consistent basis. So when you're in that service industry, you got to be on point all the time, right? Because everybody will champion you just a little bit for the good that you do, but that one bad thing, that one bad day, that can derail the whole operation. Right, that one bad review can tank the whole thing, man. And so I keep that in mind. And so I always try to be on point every single day. And I always keep that in the forefront, that this is bigger than you. This is why God created you. So you have to be all of it on a consistent basis.
Part of that mission of why I'm a chiropractor is to restore faith in people's own faith in their own body, right? In order to know God, you should be able to appreciate His creation, which we all are. And part of appreciating that is living your life to the fullest. And whether they're Christian, in this community in East Plano, it's, again, all good. The Islamic community is growing. It's huge. And I interact with a lot, and that's wonderful. That's great. We can find some common ground, and it gives me a chance to have some dialogue. Because part of my mission to being a chiropractor, like I said, is spreading His kingdom. It leads to some wonderful conversations, man. Some wonderful just openings. And, you hold yourself to a certain light, because in order to get the maximum results in healing, because that's part of what I'm paid to do, is be the best healer. And I have to study that, and I have to know that, and I have to continue to educate myself and keep myself at the top of my game. Part of that is, like you said, you don't take anything from your personal life into the office. I am the same every single day. Every single patient, even though we have our own unique interaction, so I have to see how they like to interact, how they like to communicate, and kind of meet them there, as well as pull them up to where I am. You kind of meet in the middle a little bit. Like, I'm not going to speak the same way to each person, but that person gets the same version of me in order to ensure the best results. And so that's a big part of it. And then as you get there, as they gain that faith, hey man, let's talk about God. Yeah. You got love for the Creator? Me too. And that's great. And we have that as common ground.
And I know we got some passionate minds in here, some brilliant minds. Coach Jock, I'm coming to you, right? I'm coming to you specifically with the question, is your business a hobby or is it a business, right? And again, kind of what is what are some of those intentional things that, you know, you're doing to enhance your business? And again, as we're in the people business, right? What are you doing to draw people to your business?
So right now I've been working the content game a little bit. I've been trying to put out more. So right now I'm waking up every day, I'm getting the structure together and trying to figure out and sorting out. I got a ton of different stuff that I've recorded that I just haven't posted yet. So I'm figuring out a structure on how I need to post, when I need to post, learning a thing or two about the algorithm of social media. But to the question, is it a hobby or is this my purpose? Is absolutely my purpose. I don't see myself doing anything else. And I think me and Keith, we were having this conversation just a few days ago. I'm not about to go be an accountant. This is not a side project for me to make a few extra bucks.
You know, the basketball industry gets a lot of like backlash because of people thinking that it's a hobby. Like they thinking, oh man, you just take some basketballs and you just go to a court and you just do some drills and then here's $20. I mean, so they maneuver that way. So I felt like, well, we've created, you know, a brick and mortar, right, an experience, right, a flow of, okay, email, call, like you touch base, you come in, you get a complimentary session, you do the session, somebody sits down and talks to you. Like there's a physical building that I'm going to go. It's kind of retraining the mind to show them like, no, this is a legitimate business. This is a legitimate operation. Like, hey, can I just pay you? No, like, it's recurring billing. Like you're on a monthly subscription. Like, so I feel like however you show up is how they're going to treat it. Like they'll treat it like a business whenever you treat it like a business. And so I just want to challenge all of us to be more of that, right? So the world's going to treat you how you show up. So if we show up unprepared, half doing stuff, just flying by the seat of our pants, that's going to be what we get in return. We're going to get that back. Whatever you put out is whatever you're going to get back, right? But if you put out high value, right? If you put out professionalism, consistency, all of those things that are valued and that cost, I feel like the consumer is going to start treating this industry and treating you as an individual the way that you deserve to be treated. So I think that has kind of always been our mission, you know, with Kingdom, is to shift the culture in that regard, to get people to see the basketball industry from a different scope, a different lens, a different perspective, and elevate it. And it's not, when I say elevate it, it's not about who's the best. Like it's not about who's better. I'm not in that battle. It's about, wow, like I never thought that this was ever a thing. Like, and I was sharing with Jock a text message that I got from a parent, you know, and she was telling me, you know, how, man, you know, this other trainer we had, like, you know, they weren't showing up, and, you know, I can tell they were hurting for cash, so they would call and try to have conversations and try to leverage money, and I just kind of felt bad, and I was like, why would you do that? Why would you, like, you know, be a part of that? And then she was like, I honestly thought that it was normal. Like, I've been handled like this by so many that I thought this was the norm until I came to Kingdom and met you, and you showed me a whole different side of it. Like, I never knew that something like this was real. Like, just the level, right? And again, it's not about better or worse, it's just different, right? The level of communication, the level of professionalism, the level of you're gonna walk in the gym and I'm gonna already be here, right? The level of it's the same, the things we talked about earlier. And so I think that needs to be our mission, to show the world how it's done, right? And I feel like they're gonna respond to that. If not, they're gonna treat it like it's a hobby.
As a whole, right? What kind of impact are you making and being intentional? And we got a newcomer to the group right here, and we're about to come. It's a perfect time to come in. Pass it the rock. So we about to just.
He got subbed in.
He got subbed in. He came in hot, and again, really just talking about
a phenomenal job.
The culture, because you do. I've seen you work. Yeah. I've seen you work, and it's a great topic of, you know, again, a hobby versus a business, right? And being passionate about it and having some purpose about what you're doing, because you're impacting lives and providing a value, right? So talk about kind of the way you approach, you know, your culture and your training approach.
I pretty much get my approach from, because I was a player first. So I kind of think it from a player standpoint. Like, whenever I was a player, who's the coaches that, you know, I enjoy working with, and the type of workouts that, I got the most out of. So that's kind of where I get my philosophy from. With the guide play, with what we're doing on Saturdays here, there's situational action, so it kind of translates better to the games. But at the end of the day, it's just about finding the right people to help you grow that's really going to actually invest in you, and they're not just there, through doing a transaction. Building that relationship before the session, after the session, that's how you really build community and trust, and basically gain the ability to tell the players the truth, even if they don't want to hear it. If you're always just there, showing up right when the workout starts and leaving right after, and don't really have that bond, that relationship, you can't really have those tough conversations. But yeah, that's kind of what I got.
I feel like it's my calling and it's my purpose as well. Since I came from Africa and after I graduated, and God brought me into this coaching thing, I asked him, like, why did you let me go through this? Why did you let me go through deep waters like that? It's like, because your calling is coming. You will relate into these kids. You will learn how to speak life into them, right? And until I learn how to look into them eye to eye and also bring them out within that, whatever the situation that they're going through, it just helped me, and just pick it back to what we spoke about, also just relationship afterward, and keeping the kingdom, keeping it godly, right, beforehand, and for them to, overstand it. Don't understand it, overstand it.
I'd say just being really intentional about meeting them where they are is super important to me, because we have folks that come in at any age and are at the beginner level. And when you see and recognize that it is a commitment to show up in the first place, to show up to Kingdom Performance and say, hello, I'm ready to try out your product. And Coach Keith set he talked about it earlier, about setting the standard of what the product is. So we are offering a service. So no matter where you are, where you come from, what your name is, how tall you are, how short you are, the standard is set and the product should be the same. So I'm looking to provide that service for whoever it is that comes to receive it. And so if it's building the foundation so that I can pass them off over to Coach Alir, Coach Austin, Coach Sean, the pros, to get even further developed in the game, that's my job, and I'm looking forward to doing that, and showing them, okay, I'm not just gonna throw a drill at you, let you run through the drill however, and then call it a day. I'm going to explain to you how to run this drill, how this drill impacts you, and how it's going to help you grow. And really just pick at all the details, because going back to habits, we want them to build good habits when they come to me. I'm trying to give them the good habits so that their foundation is set and then they get to move forward. What else could I touch on? It's just fun getting to pick on those fundamentals and just help them grow confident in themselves. Yeah.
Today, in terms of like just the culture, right? The culture and the product, you start thinking about kind of just the training, business as a whole, and how diluted it gets because people are not fully committed to it or in it for the right reasons, etc. So how you ensure that you are driving standards versus shortcuts and separating the height, from the habits. Give you an opportunity to kind of talk about that a little bit and kind of your approach there, because as you've seen, and you work with elite athletes, right? So again, it could be a lot of height, right? But it could also be a lot of bad habits that won't translate with elevating, right? So how do you approach that and manage that to where you're making an impact and not part of kind of diluting the culture when it comes to that training?
It kind of goes back to what Coach Keith said, is it's your personal brand, right? So you got to have your own standard. As far as like the community goes, there isn't, one certification or one system like they have in other industries where like, okay, if I know he is certified to be a doctor, I know he's licensed, he can operate, he's certified to do certain procedures. But in our industry, in sports in general, like it's not necessarily like that. It's kind of word of mouth, it's building your brand, so it's hard to kind of systemize that across the whole community, but we have to keep ourselves accountable, here at Kingdom or wherever else we're training at is, so we build that community, and anytime somebody comes to train with us or associates with Kingdom, any events we do, camps, clinics, they know there's a certain standard that's going to be upheld, and they're going to get a certain level of value. So it's a tough thing as far as like worrying about what other people are doing, but as far as the community, but doing stuff like this where we're getting together and we're having these discussions, that's the way that we kind of elevate the standard in our community. And it's just a step-by-step thing. You can't just go out and change the whole country in terms of basketball and training, but you can start with one facility, one culture, one group, and then kind of build from there. So that's kind of my approach to it.
I'm actually getting great feedback, and outside of the parents, just me speaking on who I work with around y'all, even to like what Jameer was saying, do a great job. Trevor does a great job. Jock, Alir, Keith, Sean, I've worked with all y'all. All y'all do a great job. I've been getting nothing but positivity from all my parents, all my clients, even my clients when I was working out in McKinney. Now I'm here. It's a little drive. I got people coming from Sherman that don't complain about the job because they're still getting the same standard that I laid down, and the kids that like come and join the academy and stuff, man, they're loving it. They're getting outside of me, they're getting access to all these other trainers. They're just getting different views of the game, which, for the price that we're giving out, she can't beat it.
Kind of touched on it last month, just being that leader by example. That's one thing like my father always expressed to me. He told me that everybody's route's gonna look different. Everybody's progression is gonna look different. Your starting launch pad is gonna look different. Some people have an elevated launch pad, some people gotta start in the basement. So no matter where you start, like always try to put your best foot forward. And as a coach and as a trainer, I always want to not just tell people how to do it or what to do, but also show them. Because sometimes, for me personally, I learn best by watching, seeing the example. That's why I joined Kingdom. Seeing the example before me, how things are run and operated at the highest level, and then mimic that. The best form of admiration is copying someone, right? Reiterating their style in your own way. So I just take bits and pieces from everybody that I come across, from parents, the coaches, the teams, right? You get different perspectives from different backgrounds, different walks of life. And I just kind of combine all of that into my training and just show people versus just telling them. The best leaders show. The worst bosses, they just talk to you, right? So,
wrapping up a little bit and really kind of pulling together last session into this session, right? We started talking about some of those business foundations, right? Some of those, hey, what are your process, right? Or are you the process, right? So, Coach John, we'll go back to you just to kind of follow up from last session on kind of where you're at now with kind of developing, that process, right? And being able to kind of, hey, how do you duplicate yourself, or being able to create something that is scalable at this point?
I guess one aspect of talking, because it's front of mind that I've really been trying to refine a lot, is like my onboarding process and systems there, and really like kind of like a 8-week roadmap for the new athletes to really drive retention through that first couple months. And like I've been really trying to like nail down that system where it's like, okay, as soon as a person sign up, then it's like these emails are going out, these texts are going out, where each coach is gonna, me and my staff, where everybody's gonna coach them like, hey, we're pumped, that X, Y, and Z son or daughter is coming and all these things. I built a like PDF of kind of basically it's like, okay, top member roadmap. Like these are the habits and things we see from the members that get the best results. And part of that's like, okay, here's something to help you, but also push things we want them to do. Like for example, even like many ones like showing up on time and starting to roll out or stretch, do mobility, signing into our app, and not wait until the day to sign up like before the week starts, so we know when people are coming. And even so, it's like this is going to help you, but it's also going to help us, and I want you to do this. But just like 6 different things on the front, and then on the back, it's like, okay, week 0 to 1, this is like kind of your goal for the first 2 weeks. And then here's your training goal, your nutrition goal, sleep goal. I'm building on my website like member resources with like articles and videos and clips from the podcast with like nutrition, weight gain, sleep, different stuff like that, or like recruitment, stuff like that, and link some of that. So like, I'm talking about different stuff with sleep. Here's an article linked to that of more in-depth information. And then week 3 and 4, here's your goals. Week 5 and 6, here's your goals. Week 7 and 8, here's your goals. And so basically, like that'll be in the emails, but then also first week they start training, I've started giving out like a swag bag. Basically, I got like little drawstring bag with our logo and stuff. I'll do a handwritten note during that first week along with the shirt and stuff in there and give them out. The handwritten notes are things I try and do a lot. I think that helps a lot with stuff. So that's going to happen during the first week. Obviously attendance is going to be crucial for retention, so trying to push attendance and have like attendance milestones. So I got these, I ordered off of Canva, these kind of like this big post, like hard posters. The first one is like, I completed my first session. We're taking a picture with that. We're posting that for each person. Then we got one for like 50 sessions, 100, 250, 500, kind of different things there. Just started that. So probably like, for the higher ones, we'll have some type of, gift card or shirt or, kind of exclusive thing they can get for those different milestones. And then kind of building out a whole like scorecard and Google Sheet thing where it's like, okay, on this, when they sign up, these are the actions that have to take place. We're going to check that off for each person. Week 2, week 3, week 4, whatever it is, we got all these things we got to check off. So it's a checklist and a system versus just let's wing it and try and have this communication and the next person doesn't happen and the next person it does happen and it's inconsistent. But now it's like, okay, even now, in the coming years when it gets where I'm not the one where everything's running through all the time, now it's the same thing still happening and we got the same checklist. So that's the most front of mind thing for me.
That's good.
Man, hey, John, I've been waiting for John to drop some nuggets, man. He been gatekeeping.
Yeah.
That's good, bro. He been gatekeeping, John. That's major, bro. I love that.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
good.
Because at the end of the day,
good,
we talked about, again, that's how you turn that into a partnership, right?
Yeah.
Now it's more like kind of family. You're removing kind of that transactional kind of feel to it when it comes to business, and you're building something there, right? Yeah. So that's huge, man. That's huge. No, well done. Well done. Anybody else? Anybody else got any nuggets to share as far as that business evolution, kind of taking it to the next level? Yeah. What about you, Corey?
You got to share.
Kind of anything different there? Because again, I think you were in that same stage of kind of being that you are the system, right? Right now, kind of doing some different things there. I think what John's kind of putting together there, because at the other point I'll kind of add there is it's important to be as sticky as possible with your customers, right? That's where you get referrals, word of mouth from, right? Are you doing anything? Are you providing any type of referral programs, right? What's incentivizing people to refer you as a trainer, right? Do they get a free session? Does something kind of come with it? Does they get some swag or some different things there, which is kind of making it, again, stickier? So I would also encourage that as much as you can. But yeah, what about you, Cole?
Yeah, I mean, healing is personal. So me being the process will extend until I close or until I move out of the business and allow some other people. With it just being me, knowing that I will bring on employees, what I'm able to do right now is reflect often and start to categorize things that will no longer be my responsibilities when I bring on the employees, right? What do I need to be repeatable and easy to take care of so I don't have to micromanage? I don't like to micromanage. I hate doing it, right? So that I can bring someone on and it's just seamless. But that also means I have to be consistent with systems now, right? So we're starting to become more and more kind of structured. I started off super structured, but it was the wrong structure. So then we kind of dissolved a lot of the structure such as like care plans and whatnot, and when we do progress exams, just little things like that.
Okay. How'd you know it was wrong?
Results, personal feel, patient retention. Okay, so kind of basically all the measurables that I'm looking at, like, are they getting better? Are people responding well to what we're telling them? Is it giving me an opportunity to educate? Doctor comes from a Latin word that means teacher. So if you're not doing that, you're not being a doctor. And just so many things felt wrong. It just wasn't me. It was a blueprint taken from someone else's successful practice, but it's not the only blueprint out there. So I needed to find another one. So like having ideas that I had at the beginning of when I opened and starting to implement them. So when someone heals, they get the results that they came for, we take a Polaroid picture. It goes on a corkboard, it goes on my wall. They get 7 words to write what they recovered from. Boom. They get a shirt, one of these. Here you go. That's all part of it. Progress exams, like I mentioned, that's a huge thing for retention, right? Because again, we're trying to take care of yourself often before things show up. And it gives me an opportunity to sit down, right? Because my normal visits are not long. I might spend 90 seconds to 4 minutes with a patient on their regular visit, right? Because genuinely, you're not paying me to have a conversation about a football game that happened. You're paying me to get your body healthy. Mm-hmm. And my mission is to serve as many people, so I need to be as efficient. But at that progress exam, it gives us a little bit more time. So I get to re-ask questions. Hey, do you understand this? If not, we're gonna go over it again. And it allows me to kind of build the value again of what we're trying to do in my practice. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun putting in consistent things like weekly outreach. Okay, so I baked a bunch of cookies, like 70 to 80 cookies the other day, and just went to all the dentists. Boom, here's cookies, they're good for your teeth. Just whatever it is. Just forming some level of face-to-face personal interaction. You know who I am, because otherwise how are you gonna find me? So, you're right, that's the name of the game. There's no issue with people not needing my services or my care or not needing chiropractic as a whole. It's just they don't know I exist.
As you mentioned, right? So now you have repeatable practices, right? Yep. So you have a patient that comes in, it's a repeatable thing. 1, 2, and 3 needs to happen, yep. Right? The other thing now you should understand is what's predictable, right? How long does each one of these little steps take, right? That kind of helps you really kind of measure how much you can scale, and that's scalability, right? So once you get those repeatable and predictable things kind of taken care of, those are the things that you should be kind of, getting other people to kind of take care of. That way you can take care of more of that scalability of your time.
Yep, 100%.
Good.
Right there, bro.
Good. Anybody else? Or any other topics? I think we're kind of wrapping up now for the topic, but good discussion today. Mm-hmm. Good discussion today, gents. And it's good to hear the passion and, again, a lot of the purpose, right? Because again, that was one of the things we were looking for in the theme today is, again, are you part of the solution or the problem in terms of the lack of your business evolution and growth, or just the culture as a whole, right? In terms of, training these athletes and making sure that people are doing it for the right reasons, right? So it's been great to hear the true passion and kind of what we're doing and why we're doing it, right? And making that impact because it matters.